Yeah, I'm in Everett, Kentucky up here. Heading towards High Splint. It's between anywhere from 7 to 9 years ago. Me and my wife had barbecued out late one night. It was around 11 p.m. We'd eaten, had gone to bed and left our little dog outside. The little fella probably didn't weigh 20 pounds. Around 2 a.m. in the morning, I was awoken by my little dog in the back bedroom barking. He was barking fierce like someone was out there. And all of a sudden I heard him yelp, and my wife jumped up. And as she was getting her clothes on, I have a big picture window, and something was carrying my little dog off. And it had carried it down the river. I have a river behind me. And I got my shoes on and a pistol and chased it and never could catch it. What I seen was, it was dark out, but there was a street light about maybe 200 feet from me at another neighbor's, but I seen a figure of a man. But this figure had hair all over it, and it stood up, packing my little dog out. And it was just about maybe 8-second glimpse of what I got before it headed over into the riverbank and crossed the river. I don't know why he had taken my dog. I figured, they might have smelled the barbecue. It's the only thing I can figure. But what's got me stirred up here anywhere between 1 a.m. to 3:30 a.m., and this is going on every other night. There's a big mountain right behind me that goes over to Cumberland, Kentucky, and there's a home down towards the hollow there, and this dog is coming up every night and raising Cain. And 2 nights ago, it was right behind my house on this mountain, and something hit it, and it yelled and took off screaming down through there. And I'm hearing all kinds of stuff up here in these mountains late at night. And it's just, I just wanted to tell that because I never did believe in Bigfoot, but things are going on here lately. I have walnut trees and stuff like that around me, and I've been hearing things. There's a big privacy fence up, and these dogs bark fierce like something's out there around in walnut trees at night. And so that really got me stirred up and thinking about things. Like I said, never believed in anything like that, but I just wanted to give a testimony of what I've seen and what's been going on.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you seen the figure carrying off your dog, how big was the figure? Was it just like a normal size, man size, or was it bigger or smaller?
It was bigger than me, way bigger. All I could see was, like I said, was about 8 second, anywhere between 8 and 10 second clip of it. And I'm 6 foot. This thing had to be 8 foot. And but right before it had jumped down over the bank, it had hunkered down. It looked like it just made one big leap and it was gone. It wasn't taking walking steps. I mean, it was a trot. I called Department of Fish and Wildlife, and it took him 2 days to come up because he was so busy. He said, I know what I seen. I didn't want to tell him. I wanted him to figure out and tell me what he thinks because he's a professional. I took him and showed him what happened and told him what happened. He says because of the barbecue. We got down to the riverbank and couldn't see no tracks, but as we got on the other side of the river, there was a heel print in the mud. We didn't see no toe print. It was like sticks and stuff where it like had stepped on it. Mm-hmm. He stuck his foot, and he had a big foot, and that print, and it was 4 times bigger than his foot. And he sat there and puzzled, was scratching his head. And as we got on the other side of that river, the same where he found the heel print, we found Bible's pile of garbage and bones from chickens. It looked like from different animals. And he said, I know what a bear does. I know what they don't do. He said, I don't think a bear would attack an animal. He said, I've never known of it too. But he got studying about things, and he even handed me shotgun shells. He was nervous about something himself.
Well, now I've been up in that area before, and it's kind of like around here. There's some big mountains in there.
Hey, this mountain right here, the only thing behind me is the railroad. There's no houses behind me. It is all mountains, and it goes from there over to Cumberland up to Lynch to Big Black Mountain.
Yep. It's a big area. A lot of times people don't realize just how big it is around here. I mean, you can get on these ridges and you can go for forever and nobody never finds you.
You're exactly right. I've been up here in these mountains. The next day, I loaded up and went looking for that dog. I was expecting to find a body or something. And I went up in these mountains. There's a cave over here beside these tracks. And I looked in here, went up beside the cave, back in there, and there's two old abandoned mines that was probably way back in the 40s, maybe in the 1920s. That's been sealed out, but there's water coming out of them. It's way back in there, several miles. That's how far I went back in there looking for the body of, my little dog, and I never did come up with anything.
Well, I ran into Bigfoot before coon hunting with dogs, and I've had some team members have their dogs around Bigfoot, and it seems like Bigfoot does not like dogs, and dogs don't like Bigfoot.
You're exactly right. I know I've got these dogs here. One of them's a collie. I got her out, or the one had got gone. I put me a fence up. Before I didn't have a fence around my property. Now I got a fence up. And I've got Alaskan Husky over here next door. And I know when they bark when the humans are around. They're not barking when the humans are around. These are fierce barks. And I went out 3 nights ago, and they was so fierce at barking. They was backing up while they was barking, and at the same time whining. And I didn't make a noise, and I could hear something walking around in these leaves over here. These walnuts that fell on the ground. Something wasn't right, and it even scared me.
Well, you said you had walnut trees. I wonder if it's coming in there and getting those walnuts.
It's right beside my house. It's my neighbor. He has several walnut trees. They're big, and I'm beginning to think I'm beginning to think it's a food supply somehow.
Well, so you've been hearing some sounds and stuff as well?
Yeah, there's this dog up here, he just seems like it's either every night or every other night. If you was up here, I'd have to point you, and you would know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a power line that runs up here in these mountains, and it might have a 25-foot wide span for these poles, and that little dog, that house is way down the holler, but he travels this power line route, and he gets out or something every night. It couldn't be a coyote.
Yeah.
Because, I can just tell his bark. My main concern, I know what I saw, and I'm not crazy. I never have told anybody this except 2 people, my family. And I'm scared for the safety of maybe somebody's children.
Well,
never know.
Let me reassure you, you're not crazy, because I've seen it too. They're definitely around here, and it would be a very rare occasion that it would attack a human. There are some reports of that, but for the most part, they're not going to attack you or your family. So try not to worry about that part of it. They might get in your garbage, or like you say, bother your dogs or something like that. But as far as them attacking you, it'd be very unlikely.
That night in particular, it was like it was like what I had seen was coming to my barbecue grill. And it didn't want to come for that little dog standing out. They wasn't scared because it was right by my head outside. I live in a mobile home.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bay window is what I was looking out of, and I heard the dog yelp right behind my head, and I was trying to open my eyes. I looked out, and that's when I seen the little dog and the arms, right arm, and this thing was not walking; it was taking giant strides.
I would say the barbecue, probably the smell, is probably what got its attention.
That's what I'm thinking, and that's what also the Fish and Game is saying. But he don't. When before he left, he didn't seem to think it was a bear because he said a bear hardly ever would attack a domestic pet.
Right.
But you know, I've got the little dog. I know what I saw. My wife was also in there. She didn't see it. I'm the only one that seen it, but she heard it. She heard the commotion.
Well, they're definitely out there, and I know up in that area, it's kind of like around here. There's not a whole lot of people, but there's a whole lot of mountain.
There are a whole lot of mountain, uninhabited mountain. Anybody's never lived there. And something else, you know, I've got looking here lately, and about the time my dog got gone, I was looking at reports of coal miners on the other side of the same mountain I'm talking about right here in Cumberland. At about the same time, seeing this creature they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Two coal miners spotted one, I think, right there. Maybe crossed over. Pine Mountain is right across this mountain.
Yeah.
If you go down through there, and then up here in Cumberland, they've been a coal miner seen him, and a couple more people that rides ATVs that's from out of town had even mentioned it. Things I have dug up and seen here.
Well, I know you're talking about up there at Everett's. I used to go up there. We used to sell logs there to Forest Products.
Mm-hmm.
And then we used to go up there to one of the churches too, up there where the little flashing light is, and you turn to the right.
Right.
We used to go to church up there some, so I'm familiar with where you're talking about up that way.
And you know, you've seen things, I've seen things. Like I said, never believed in anything like that till what I saw. My dad's retired from the Kentucky State Police. We've talked about things, and he told me never go in the mountains without a pistol on my side. Because you don't never know.
Yeah. Well, for years I'd go in, well, up to just recently, I never would pack anything, even though I was out there looking for Bigfoot and looking for signs of Bigfoot. I never did pack a gun. I packed a little pocket knife, but back year before last, I guess it was, or maybe last year, a neighbor had a run on a bear with two cubs, and he tried to get him, and he was able to fire his pistol and run it off. So from there on out, I started packing a gun when I go to the mountains.
Yeah, that, you know, there's a lot of things people don't know. I have a doctor right over here in Virginia, a great fellow. He actually was telling me about the encounter that had nothing to do with Bigfoot, but it was a government experiment where this tiger had come from the suburbs of Chicago over to Appalachia, Virginia, and they've been tracking it all along, the government, not telling anyone, and it would come to this woman's house every night trying to get in her door to eat. That woman called the police, and they said, honey, there's nothing like that. 2 days later, a car hit it, and there it lay. Before the police get to it, the government come in and swiped it.
Well, that sounds about right.
That is right. There was a write-up on that.
Well, I seem like I do remember something about that. But, you know, just right here in our area, we used to never have no bears. But they come in here and released a bunch of bears in here on us, and now we got them everywhere.
Oh, they're everywhere. I see them quite frequently in here, but what I saw that night was no bear.
Well,
You know, I see, this thing didn't have its left arm down. It was like it was in a hurry to leave. You know what I'm saying?
It's getting out of there with that dog.
It was getting out of that dog. What's really got me, have you ever known of or heard of taking any dogs out for animals like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Recently I talked to a man out west, and he'd bought some property, and it was kind of like a farm, and he went over to one area of the farm, and there laid like, I don't know how many, he said, dead dogs. That were something had been killing the dogs and throwing them all in one pile. So yeah, and he's got Bigfoot activity on his property because he's seen several on it. So yeah, they don't. I've heard a lot of reports about them killing dogs and stuff like that.
I have seen it one time. Like I said, on the other side of this river, it looked like a chicken farm. There was some meat chicken bones, stuff like that around.
Mm-hmm.
Different things, but the fish and game warden was trying to look for tracks. He said, "There's something on. There's no sign of any bear tracks." And he said, "I can't get over that heel print made in that mud coming off that river." He said, "That is a heel print. It didn't have no markings, no boot markings, tennis shoe markings. It was just like from the middle back, no toes or anything."
So, and you're still having, there's some weird stuff going on. So they must still be in the area, I take it.
Yeah, there's something going on back here in this mountain. You know, like we was talking, there's so many miles and miles of forest back in there. And there's so many, you know, caves and abandoned mines back through here, and you don't never know what could be lurking inside one of them.
Well, now see, we got quite a few abandoned mines around here, old ones, you know, that they don't seal up anymore for, like you say, they're from like the 40s, but we have, probably you guys got them too, some just natural caves.
Yeah, well, there's natural caves up in here. There's a big one over here.
So once they get back in that, it's untelling where they could go.
Yeah, there's, you know, people get their ginseng and stuff. I listen to them. They say, "We don't ever seen nothing like that." But, and then again, they turn around and say, "You know, but there's plenty of abandoned mines and stuff like that. Things could go. It's never been sealed up."
Well, that's me. I ginseng a lot, and I've run in on some stuff that, some weird formations that they've done with sticks and stuff like that. And I found what I thought was some tracks this year, but it was hard to say because it's so dry. But I've heard that a lot, where people say they get out a lot, and I've never seen nothing. But well, that don't mean they didn't see you.
That's right. It's like I said, I don't see any kind of day activity. It only happens between late midnight up till 3:30 in the morning. Either it seems like 3:30 or 4 o'clock. You don't never hear anything else. They quiet down.
Well, what we could do, let me give you my number, my telephone number, and you just kind of keep an eye on what's going on around your property. And if something really, you know, picks up and you hear more sounds, or you find tracks or something, you give me a call and I'll schedule a day to come up there and we'll check it out.
That sounds good. Yeah, I'm ready. Hurry, get it.
Okay, my phone number is 664.
Okay.
And you can always, you know, send me a message on Facebook or something.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll keep in contact with you, and if it gets a little crazier out here, I'll call you and you come up. Maybe we can go looking into things, because you know I didn't know who to call, and I seen where y'all had come to library, and I thought, you know, I'm not gonna go down there and tell in front of everybody, but I'm gonna speak to one of those guys. I'm gonna tell them exactly what I've seen and what I'm hearing.
Well, now I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I've taken a lot of hundreds of reports, and a lot of stories just like you told me, that, you know, I seen it for a little bit and it was running off with something, or it got in the garbage. It was big and hairy, and that's they're around here, and I've seen them myself. So you know, I believe you, and You just keep an eye on around your property, and if you've got a game camera or something like that, it might be okay to set one of them up there on the edge or something, if you can.
I'm like, yeah, my cousin, he hunts. I'm gonna get a couple of them game cams. I've been thinking about that here last week.
Well, now I was just at Walmart yesterday, and they got some out there for $29. And I thought that was a real good deal. Usually they're higher than that. And
They got the little label card in them, takes the pictures.
you have to buy the card separate, but you can buy them off of eBay real cheap.
Right.
And
yeah, I've been, I didn't think. I just now thought, like you said, about them game cameras. But that had bothered me so bad. I had to even barbecue 2 nights after that, trying to get this thing lured back in here, and I sat and slept up on my roof with a 12-gauge shotgun.
I can understand that. You never did find the dog though?
No. Me and that game warden looked from that morning until almost dark for that body of that dog. I mean, we did some traveling and never could find it. Went up and down this river, probably a couple miles down, couple miles up, went to the track, up and down, and finally hit the mountains, and nothing.
Well, like I say, just keep monitoring around your property, and if you can get out a game cam or something like that, or if you hear some like howls or something like that going on, if you got a way to record it with like a cell phone or something like that, just a sound, that'd be real good too. That'd give us a little more to go on.
Right. I'll, if I get to hearing anything, I tell you what, I'm gonna start recording these dogs on my phone camera.
Mm-hmm.
And just sitting out here back at night and letting you, if I get up with you, letting you hear things for yourself.
Okay, that sounds
what
good.
What you think about it. And I'll keep in contact with you, and I appreciate you calling me, old bud.
All right, I appreciate you telling me what you saw. And if you have any questions or something, you just call me back.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.